3 people die every second. That is 180 every minute and nearly 11,000 every hour. The current global death rate is an unyielding 100%. Yet, looking at the silent audience in this room, there is a total absence of discussion regarding where those people actually go every single day. Modern religious teaching has largely abandoned the subject. Among many mainline groups, describing a literal afterlife is often dismissed as anti-intellectual or a distraction from current social issues. Detailed talk of paradise has been pushed to the fringes. It is now associated almost exclusively with the sawdust floor evangelism of the past, rather than the core curriculum of the modern church. This silence has left a massive cultural blind spot. By ignoring the destination, we have created a society that feels a deep spiritual hunger, but has no framework to understand what it's actually hungry for. This innate hunger for eternity doesn't just disappear when it's ignored, it redirects. When we lose sight of a prepared place in the future, we naturally begin trying to manufacture a version of it in the present. We spend every resource trying to live in a beautiful place, accumulating toys and using technology to eradicate pain. As we look at the endless repetition of this suburban grid, we see the physical evidence of our attempt to build a permanent home here. Even the wealthiest and wisest figures in history found this pursuit to be empty. No amount of earthly real estate or comfort can approximate the specific blueprint described in ancient texts. Those texts are surprisingly specific. The Bible refers to a literal heaven over 500 times, presenting it as a concrete reality rather than a vague or imaginary hope. Our current obsession with perfecting our earthly surroundings is a symptom of ignoring this documented roadmap. We are trying to build a utopia on a foundation that was never meant to be permanent. The terminology in the original texts is grounded in physical height. The Hebrew shamayim and the Greek aranos both refer to a lofty, raised-up place. In fact, this Greek root provided the scientific name for the planet Uranus. Biblical writers described 3 cosmic levels. Starting from Earth's cross-section, the first heaven is the atmospheric blanket of air. Further out, the second heaven contains the stars and galaxies. At the highest northern point lies the third heaven, the unobservable divine residence. By defining these layers, the text presents heaven as a geographical reality. It is a multi-tiered destination that can be located, not a metaphorical state of mind. When Jesus describes this destination in the book of John, he uses the Greek word topos. This isn't a vague term for a feeling. It is a very strict word used for a physical, locatable place. He calls it the Father's house, a term that implies physical architecture, warmth, and furniture. This language strips away the idea of an imaginary utopia and replaces it with a tangible, prepared residence. This residence has a clearly defined population. It is occupied by a physical redeemer and the spirits of relatives and loved ones who have gone on before, creating a community defined by actual relationships. It also features a functioning reward system. The text describes an inheritance untouched by inflation or decay, along with 5 specific crowns awarded based on a person's faithfulness during their time on Earth. There is even a mechanism for wealth transfer. Since physical assets stay behind, the only way to build equity in this kingdom is to invest earthly time and treasure into things that are actually going there, the souls of people and the eternal Word of God. When you combine these elements, a specific location, a defined population, and an internal economy, heaven begins to look less like a cloud and more like a sovereign physical nation. As a sovereign territory, this kingdom maintains a strict border policy. Nothing defiled is permitted entry, and the requirements for crossing are absolute. Entry depends entirely on whether your name is found in this book, the Lamb's Book of Life. It is the final registry for every citizen of the kingdom. The weight of this registry is captured in the story of Ruth Anna Metzger, a professional singer invited to an elite wedding reception at the top of a Seattle skyscraper. She was the soloist for the wedding, but because she was busy, she never sent back her RSVP. She assumed that her talent and her role in the ceremony would be enough to get her past the door. When she reached the top floor, the maitre d' checked the bound book and found nothing. Her talent didn't matter. Her contribution to the wedding didn't matter. Without her name in the book, she was denied. She was escorted away from the celebration. As the service elevator doors close, she is left in the dark, heading back down in silence. This is the reality of the border. Proximity to religious work or a reputation for being good is no substitute for a confirmed, registered RSVP in the Book of Life. Entering the Father's house is a matter of relationship, not a resume of personal achievements. It is a specific invitation that must be accepted. The ancient texts are unequivocal. Jesus is the singular pathway to securing this reservation. There is no other registry and no other way to the Father. Has there ever been a moment in your life when you officially secured your name in this registry? Everyone faces the same 100% death rate, but standing at the gates of reality and discovering you have no reservation is a true catastrophe.